evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, viewers. I'm Matthias Ofiku, news editor of the Namibian Sun newspaper. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Evening Review Show. Tonight we'll be speaking housing. The Economic Association of Namibia will be hosting a housing symposium here in Windhoek tomorrow morning. And we are joined in studio tonight by Mr. Cons Karamata, who's the program manager of the association. But before we get to the business of the night, let's have a look at tomorrow's headlines. Well, in tomorrow's edition, you can expect a story of the agri-BizDev. There's budget allocation made to it, despite an endorsement by Cabinet to dissolve the entity. So the Public Minister, Leon Juster, explains a bit more into detail about that. You can also expect a story on the city of Windhoek. The city says 90 million worth of free water was given to the citizens during the pandemic. So there's a void in the city's kitty. And from the courts, an accused person is seeking for bail. It's a rape accused of raping a minor. So that's another story you can expect in our edition for tomorrow. Well, Mr. Karamata, it's good to have you in studio tonight. We want to talk about the association's housing symposium that's taking place tomorrow. Maybe just as a precursor and for the viewers also, can you just tell us tomorrow's event, what it's all about and what it will entail?
Of course, I think that everyone in Namibia knows that we have a serious problem with housing. I think that it's a well-known problem that well-known issue that most Namibians cannot afford housing because of the prices. So the idea with tomorrow's event is to create a platform to look for solutions to this challenge. How do we create an ecosystem that will ensure affordable housing to Namibians? So we will bring stakeholders together who are involved in housing delivery to come up with solutions and to come up with ideas on how to bring down housing prices and how to make houses affordable to Namibians.
Yeah. I'm sure the association has also done its groundwork before deciding on having such a platform. What have you found from the field? What are really the situations and the hindering factors as far as home ownership in Namibia is concerned?
Yeah, of course, I'm not going to go into the details of the conference. That's why we'll have experts available there. But just generally, we know that the average Namibian can really not afford a house, especially in places like Windhoek. Most people are now renting. New job market entrants cannot even dream about buying a house, which was the case, let's say, 10 years ago. But now most people are just renting. And you see developments like Osona Village and so on, which provide affordable houses. This is where most people from Windhoek actually run to because that's where they can afford houses. So I think that is a very well-known fact that the majority of Namibians cannot afford to buy a house in most cities. And something has to be done about it. We need some innovation in either the building techniques, in material, but also in the whole issue of land availability and land prices. So it's really a challenge, and that's why we created this platform, is to discuss all these issues.
Well, one would argue that there's been similar platforms in the past of this nature, but 32 years later, we're still on the same topic. How are we getting it wrong, or what's the cause of the delay as far as solutions are concerned?
This is why the Economic Association of Namibia exists. We really, our discussions are geared towards looking for solutions. So we are really there to bring the public and the private sector together uh, for them to talk to each other and to showcase this. The private sector would be able to showcase these are our challenges. This is where we need policy to be changed in order for us to be able to provide the solutions that Namibians need. And so this type of platform is really about moving from the rhetoric to solutions, to pragmatic solutions, and then to take these proposals that are there and hand it over to policymakers, hand it over to municipalities, and say, look, here are the solutions that have been proposed. How can we go about implementing them? So the EAN is interested in looking for real solutions, moving from rhetoric to practical steps that can be taken to solve our development challenges.
Yeah. Of course, if you talk solutions, you can't omit the aspect of cost. I remember in 2020, I believe, the Urban and Rural Development Minister, Honorable Derek Claassen, saying that we'll need about 76 billion to curb the 300,000 housing backlog in Namibia. So from a funding perspective, and it's ideal that your association is spearheading tomorrow's event. Would we see players in the financial sector making their input also?
Absolutely. Okay, so FNB will be there. They will be presenting their solutions to the problem, but we will also have a session there on blended finance. We will also have a case of affordable housing. Ongos Valley will present their case. So these are all type of innovative ways how to make housing affordable. I don't want to go into details, but the case of Ongos Valley, for example, you have this model where you can rent a house to own in the future. So that will make it affordable for somebody who's like just entering the job market. That you can start by renting, and then this rent is not just paying the owner of a house, but it's actually you already start to pay off your own house. So there are models, innovative financing models that will be discussed tomorrow.
Yeah. Mr. Karamata, I've seen the program for tomorrow's event. The issue of informal settlements. I didn't see it featuring, unless if it's a subtopic somewhere in there. Is this been catered for? Because I know it's a monster that's challenging thousands of Namibians.
Okay, of course, you can only do so much in one day. I think that the topic of housing is a very broad one. For example, the whole thing of rural areas, housing in rural areas, the whole thing of land ownership in rural areas is we had to cut it from the program because we just can't fit everything in one day. But there will be someone there from, I think it's called Housing Action Group, Dr. Mueller, who has done some work on shacks, who will be talking about this and who will be proposing some solutions to the problem of shacks in Namibia. So we'll touch on it briefly, but it's not going to be a focus area of the conference.
Yeah, because the reason why I'm asking that is because I know in the Harambee Prosperity Plan it was revealed that there are currently around 113 informal settlements with over 140,000 shacks and a population of over 400,000. That's a huge population. And one wonders the solutions that you are seeking for at tomorrow's platform, would they be able to cater for the low-end citizens of our country?
I guess only indirectly. Okay, so if you have uh, the majority of, let's say, middle income Namibians or lower income Namibians being able to afford a place of their own, you know how it works in Africa. If you have a house, you can take on family members. So I think that the solutions are really geared towards, let me say, middle income, where people can really afford, will be able to afford houses who couldn't do so in the past. And I'm sure that indirectly they will be able to assist with family members who might be then in a lower bracket, income bracket. So, as I've said, we are not going to focus specifically on low income or unemployed Namibians who live in shacks all over the country. Uh, that is a topic for another day. But I'm sure that even the solutions that we are coming up with tomorrow might indirectly be of help to them.
Yeah. Mr. Karamata, I know you are a seasoned expert in the economics field and so on. When we speak affordable housing, what brackets are we speaking about here?
Yeah, well, I remember a time, I think 8 years ago or so, where it was normal to get a house, a two-bedroom up to three-bedroom house from 300,000 to 600,000. Today, it's actually starting from 700 up. And that's what we are talking about. So we are really talking about solutions that will bring down house prices to 500,000, 600,000, so that the average Namibian can be able to afford houses. Yeah, so that's really what we are talking about. And yeah, even in Kavitura today, you get houses for 800,000 up, and that is really a problem. It's beyond the reach of most Namibians.
Yeah. So, but as per your research over the years, do you think the common reason has always been given that the supply and demand forces determine these prices? Do you think that's an adequate justification for the high housing prices in the country?
It's one of the factors, and economists will tell you that prices are always about demand and supply. But it's not all, it's not the full story. We know that there are issues around land availability, land prices that are just too high. And as I've said, experts will talk on this tomorrow. But I think there are solutions to the high land prices. The
Yeah.
whole issue of land servicing that just need some innovative solutions. How to avail more land and how to bring down the cost of land servicing. I think those are the issues. And again, there are issues around materials, building materials that has not directly something to do with the fact that there are needs or that there is a high demand for houses. It's just that, the materials are just too high. So that's where you bring in people who will come up with innovation in both building materials and building techniques that will again bring down the cost of construction. So these are all issues that will be discussed tomorrow.
I also see on the program that Minister Erastus Utoni, the Urban and Rural Development Minister, will be there. We know in the past that the private sector has presented solutions in various sectors to challenges confronting their sector, but the implementation thereof has always been a problem. What measures has the association put in place to ensure that the output from tomorrow's event is indeed not cast aside and eventually ending up picking up dust on the shelves in the offices?
Of course, the first thing is simply that the minister will be present. I mean, that's already quite positive, and we are really appreciative that government has an open door policy when engaging civil society and when engaging EAN activities. That's very positive. Also, I need to point out that the city of Windhoek will be present. The housing department will be represented. Someone from Alan will be represented. So we will have policymakers there. But then we will have a report at the end of this conference. This report will have key takeaways from the conference as proposals to government, to municipalities, but also to the private sector. And this report will obviously be presented to the stakeholders for them to take that on board. Unfortunately, the EAN will also stop there. I mean, that is our mandate to present the solutions, but the implementation actually must be done by the stakeholders themselves.
Yeah. Well, of course, we can't preempt the outcome of tomorrow's symposium, but pending the finalization of the report you just spoke of now, does the association have an ideal time frame through which you would want to see that the recommendations implemented into the system?
I think that's probably part of the discussion tomorrow and will be part of the recommendations. But we want to see tangible results. That's why we have this type of platforms. We want to see tangible results, as economists would say, in the short term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe just as we're summing up, we know where the economy is right now of the country. Your association has done, well, numerous research papers as to how the economy should be revived and so on. Is this the right time to be taking on initiatives such as this, considering the economic situation of the country?
Absolutely. I mean, even more so. I think there is more of a need to generally bring down the prices of housing, but also generally just to bring down the prices or the cost of living in the country, because now we are even facing a situation where inflation is going up and the cost of living for the ordinary Namibians is really high. And therefore, this is quite the right time to discuss about how to bring down the cost of living. So, and things don't look as if things are going to get better, generally speaking. So, this is the time to tackle specific issues that will help reduce the cost of living for Namibians.
Yeah. Just lastly, from my side, why did the association choose this time specifically to host this symposium? I mean, this has been a crisis that's been coming on for years.
Yeah, it's of course a question of priorities. It's a question of we have an annual agenda, and then we look at what are the topical issues, what is it that needs to be addressed, and housing is up there in terms of being a topical issue. So the association has, of course, a strategic plan, and we look at the burning issues of the day that we then need to focus on.
Yes. Well, Mr. Karamata, thanks for your time tonight, and we wish you all the best for tomorrow's symposium. And we look forward to positive recommendations.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Well, to our viewers, that's it from us tonight. See you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you.